So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to do some of my outdoor seeds in containers, and I'm going to do these two beautiful poppies, and I'm going to do the outdoor method in these water bottles because these are cold hardy. So I'm going to try those outside. And I'm also going to show you my windowsill method, which requires no special equipment other than a window of light with perhaps a radiator underneath and some of these foil trays. And I'm going to be planting indoors. I'm going to be starting some Achillea and some yarrow. And if I've got time, I might start these Lucky Lips snapdragons and these Cosmos double click. No, sorry, double Dutch white. So let's start first of all with the outdoor seeds then. So I've already pre-cut my water bottle, as you can see. I know what I've forgotten to do. I've forgotten to put the water holes in. I'm not going to make you endure the noise that makes. So I will come back in 1 second when that is done. So what I do is I just cut these ends here and then sort of stick my thumb in. It's a lot easier than trying to put a hole in, you know, with a screwdriver or something. I suppose you could stand them on something soft and drive a screwdriver like into some blue tack or something. That would work. All right, so we've done that. So now we use, this is my lovely Rocket Grow pre-moistened soil. So as you can see, it's wet but not soaking wet. And I'm going to take out any big twigs like that. And I'm going to put it in here. I think the poppies I'm going to do it about 4 inches in depth once I don't want to make it like hard and compact, but I don't want it to be too uneven with air pockets either. So I'll just give that a tap down like that to make sure that it's done. Hope you can see all right. I need to get my filming set up a little bit better, but I think you can see that there. So it's about 4 inches deep and it's got nice drainage holes. I'm just going to wipe my hand before I open my seeds. And we'll just do the second one, get that ready to all right, so I'm going to take my poppies, and what I'm going to do, these ones come with a little stick, so I'm actually going to take that off first and put that in each container. Before I start. Now, if you don't have these, you can, some people use white tape and write on with a Sharpie, but some other people have said Sharpies do wash off, and so you need a proper garden marker. Well, we'll see, because I've done a lot of mine outside with a Sharpie. So, okay, so we'll start with this pink one. So this is pink Peony, Lilac, Pom-Pom, Poppy. So how cute is that? And my cat's called Poppy as well. So, and what I tend to do is I cut off the bottom, and that way I don't lose the instructions. I hope there's another bag inside. Yes, there is. So that's lucky. Let's just move that out of the way so you can see. And then just flick them down from the corner where you're going to open them. And then I like to open them a bit better with my scissors, like so. And then I have a little bit more control. And of course the seeds are tiny. And I don't want to sow them all now because I'm not going to commit the entire packet to one pot. I will do some now and some in a couple of weeks to give myself the best chance of a survival. Because just in case, I mean, look how teeny tiny they are. So I'm probably only going to do that amount in here, and I'm just going to tip them into the crease of my hand like so. And then with my finger maybe just try and move them. I might actually just do a teeny tiny few more over this side of the container there. And before I lose any, now some people don't date, but I do like to date my containers so that I can compare with what you know, if I do another sowing, then of course I want to be able to compare these with the later sown ones. So I just fold that back up like that, so that's sealed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm not actually really going to cover them. I'm just going to manipulate them around until I can't see them anymore, because I think if I try to cover them with soil, it's just going to be too heavy. So I've got my X-ray specs on and I can't see those now, so they're tucked in, and that's really the only covering they get, because it does say cover with half a centimetre. So I think if you just push them in, then that should be sufficient, rather than risking them being too buried. I'm going to just push that one down there. But then again, you don't want them too shallow, because also then they won't develop strong enough roots before they start popping up. Okay, so that's the pink peony poppies done. So I'm just going to wipe my hands. I don't want the mud all over the packet. So these are peony black. I mean, how beautiful are these? I mean, poppies, I've not grown anything like these before. So fingers crossed. It says sow March, May, but it does say you can sow indoors. Outdoors, but I'm going to do them obviously protected, which means I can start them a little bit earlier. Cut them off the bottom again. Don't cut off the expiry date, but it just means that you've got then the the entire packaging still intact. And then knock the seeds down from that corner, because they're very expensive, so you don't want to lose any. Busy road today out there. Right, here we go again. Let's make sure I don't get any. So there they are, super tiny. So into the crease of my hand. And then we're just kind of, I don't even know if you could see that. They kind of all landed in the same place because I was trying to concentrate on whether you could see what I was doing. It's like a... Right, before I lose any, I'm going to close this back up and put them away. And then if I don't have any success within 2 to 3 weeks, I will do another sowing, which will bring me closer to March. I know it's only January now, but I'm thinking if they're protected in these bottles, we may be able to get a bit of a head start on them. And if this fails, then clearly I will be looking to re-sow, and I've left myself more than plenty to re-sow these a couple of times if that is required. So they're nicely bedded in now. So all that's left to do is close these, sellotape the edge or whatever tape you want to use, and obviously leave the lid off, because this is where the air and the rain and the elements will get through, and it will obviously allow a flow of air, and you know, we don't want them to get rotted, so we need that little airflow. So let's just assume I've sellotaped those and they can go outside in a sheltered but sunny spot with my other outdoor sown plants. And I'll put these away. And don't forget, you can write up your notes. I've got all mine at the back here in this sewing note, and then you have yours. So I've got my notes that I really should be neater. And just to show you how good this gardening notebook is, look, you can have it outside. You can even get it wet and just wipe it off like so. It's got this kind of semi, I guess it is waterproof cover. So even if you get, I've had coffee stains and garden soil and everything on this, and I can still clean it off. So, and I'm going to be doing some more of these. So different styles with different, you know, pages, guides. Right, so I'm going to clear this off a little bit. And then I'm going to start my windowsill. So how I do my windowsill, so this is ideal for city growers. I mean, you can get these anywhere, Poundland, off Amazon, anywhere, Home Bargains. And what I do is, I like these because they fit just nicely on your window ledge. Perfect above a radiator. So you don't need any grow lights and you don't need any heated pads, assuming your radiators are underneath. And if they aren't, your room is probably going to be warm enough anyway if you have it heated, centrally heated in the winter. So what I do is I take 2 per seed sowing. And then what I do is I put in the bottom one, I take some kitchen roll, a sheet like this, and I fold it up. And I just place that in the bottom. And then I take the second one. The second one, I just need to poke a hole. I'm just seeing if it will work if I poke it over this sponge. I use a cocktail stick. Oh yeah, perfect. Just poke holes, drainage holes, evenly spaced, like so. You can see them now there. And then I wet this here. Doesn't have to be soaking wet, nice and damp. And then I put my other tray inside so that you've got now an absorbent, moist mat inside your tray, which is waterproof, so it won't get on your window ledge. And then obviously we use the same pre-moistened cut seed and cutting compost soil, and just as we go, like so, get it nice and tapped down. Now I've got loads of plants sprouting in this method. Some of these I don't have over a radiator, but I have on an unheated windowsill. Others I have on a windowsill, depending on their requirements. And I have some really nice plants planting. And I don't know if you saw, I don't know if I actually included it in the video, but no, is that one of those little mushrooms I was telling you about? Look at that. Tiny little mushroom. Let's just put him over there. Yeah, so I what was I saying? Yes, I let them dry out. I didn't cover them. They were my foxgloves. I didn't cover them, and the soil was hard as a rock, dried out really quickly overnight in this warm, heated house. And I thought, oh, I've ruined them. And I was about to throw them out, and I thought, well, I'll just give them another go. I'll mist them, and I'll cover them this time. And it seemed like it was a fruitless effort because they just kept drying out and drying out. And then I just thought, well, I'm going to persevere, because if these were out in nature, they wouldn't be rained on and wet and pampered. So I left them, and I think they are just starting to sprout. So it was a good job I didn't throw them out. I mean, they're really teeny tiny, but I'll give you an update and I'll let you know. So if that happens to you, maybe don't give up. If they haven't germinated, of course, if they dry out once they've germinated, forget it, they will just die. But these hadn't germinated yet. So I decided to persevere and give it a chance, and it seems like they are actually going to germinate after all. Okay, I'm going to rinse my hand because it's a bit grotty. All right, so this is the Achillea here, gold plate. Now I'm going to sow this now, but it says don't cover it. Now I am still going to press it down though, because I've never known a seed that hasn't benefited from just being ever so slightly submerged into the soil. So I guess that's what I'm going to do. It does say don't cover with compost. So we'll just be very careful. Okay, let's just open the packet. Now I didn't include these in my seed haul video. If you want to watch that, I'll link it below. But the reason is because I actually only bought these the other day because there was a half price offer on all seeds, and I got 20% off as a gardening member. So I kind of went a bit crazy, and I bought some gorgeous gladioli and ranunculus, which I will do. I'll show you in another video, because it just, you know, I mean, it was just too good a deal, really. All right, so this looks like a really measly packet. Who is this? This is the RHS. Oh, well, from Fothergill's. Usually Fothergill's have usually quite generous supplies. I think I'm only, oh no, there's loads in there actually. Look how small they are. So I am not going to sow all those. So let's just pop quite a few. Oh, we lost some anyway on there. Wow, I mean, they are like dust. I don't know if you can you see them? They're like literal dust. So actually what I am going to do is I'm going to get this toothpick, and I am just going to move them around just to space them out a bit, because I don't really want to have to lose them when I'm thinning them. And I know it says don't cover them, but I don't really care if... I'm not going to push them deep down, of course. I'm going to pick some of these off and put them over here and over here until I've got them more spaced, like so. There's a big clump over there that fell. All right, so I'm just going to press them with my thumb and do as I'm told, just to make sure they have good contact with the moist soil, like so. And then do we cover? Well, I'm going to cover them with well, I am going to cover them with cling film. So that was the other thing. So again, you don't even need propagators. And the thing I love about these foil trays is you can usually buy them from your own country, so you don't need to have them imported from somewhere far off in the world. These aluminium trays are recyclable, which is another plus. They're not plastic, which is a massive plus. And, you know, they're just so much better for the environment all round. And then you can just use a bit of cling film, which I'm not sure is environmentally friendly. You could use glass. So if you have old picture frames, for instance, like a little photograph frames that the frames are broken, use the glass to go over the top. But I'm going to use cling film. I'll just pull off, which I should And that is that. And then of course I tuck that underneath so it's nice and tight when it sits on the window ledge. And then I've got to name it, which I normally do inside, and I forgot. Let me fold these up before I forget, so I don't want to lose them. Because again, I will succession sew these just in case these don't come up. But if these all come up, I just won't need to sew any more of these. And the expiry date on these is next year. So I'll be able to do these again next year if I don't need to do any more this year. So that's great. So let me just write. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sticky label on there. So these are my kind of off-cut sticky labels that I use for postage labels when I'm posting out my... So I shall just use one of those. Achillea, is that how you spell it? Gold plate. And the date I think is the 20th of Jan. So, and I will just stick it on the edge there because I don't want to cover the, and that's that one's good to go. All right, let's go again with the yarrow. So I'll show you one more time. Fold this up, and it goes. Nice and moist. Oh, it's hitting my iPad. And we'll use the other one to poke these holes. Now that might have worked with the bottle actually, but you'd need more than a cocktail stick, like a screwdriver or something. I think that would actually work using it, doing it over a sponge like that. And then in it goes. Let's put the soil in. Like so. Pat it down, but we don't want it super hard. Now I don't see why you wouldn't be able to sprout if you have a bag of, now you can use, because you can get the longer takeaway trays, they're sort of almost twice the length. And actually normally I do use those that size, but I was out. But you could even use like this to start your ranunculus if you want to sprout your ranunculus, and then, you know, just put them in a, you know, a dark cool cupboard somewhere under the stairs, whatever, anywhere where there's not like heated pipes and radiators. I would put mine out in the garage where I have a dark cool spot, and you could just as easy do them here. You don't need to go and buy all those plastic trays that they have in the garden centres. Right, so where's my yarrow? What did I do with it? There it is. Okay, and these are all beautiful fillers actually, these, but my main reason, this one definitely I'm growing for floral arrangements, but also it has the advantage of being fantastic for bees. So I'll do enough that I can keep them in the garden and enough that I will have plenty to cut for arrangements. And the yellow, I'm not sure, the yarrow, the Achillea, I'm not entirely sure. I might just actually not use that in cut flowers. I'll just use that for the babies, I was going to say. Yeah, the baby wildlife, yeah, they need caring for. So there we go again. And yeah, let's just try sort of knocking them a bit, like flicking them a bit with this. Oh yes, that works. Look how lovely and spread out they are now. Probably done too many in there, but now what does it say about covering these? Do not cover. So I think it's very similar. The seeds look almost exactly the same as the Achillea. I'm just going to write the date on the back of that as well. Wait a minute, dog. So 20th of Jan in there. Is it the 20th? Saying that, I don't even know if it is. Gosh, I've got some deadlines to meet actually, instead of planting cut flowers. Well, you know, flowers in general. Okay, so let me just put that away. I always get a bit worried if I don't do that as I go. Back into the packet there. Should have cleaned my hands off really before I did that. Back into the bottom and then fold it over like so. Ready for the next sewing, whenever that may be. And then here we go again. Cover this over. I'll just wrap it right down, probably easier and more secure. All right. There we go. So we've got some indoor and outdoor sewing there. And sometimes what I have done is, let me just go and get that dog. And what I have done with some of the more hardy plants, like the snapdragons, I've actually done some in and some out. And I'm also going to do that with my Cleome and the Larkspur, because I've done some out because it does need cold stratification. So I've just done it straight in the bottles, which have gone straight outside, and we've had a period of frost actually for almost a week. So they've had a good cold stratification and lots of nice light in the day through these bottles. But I also put some seeds in the fridge, which I'm also going to sow. So we'll see. Oops, didn't label this. It'll be interesting to see which does best. I do believe the ones that are able to look after themselves outside tend to be stronger and hardier. Yarrow. Oh no, I've put it in there. Oh, that's why I didn't do it. That's because I went and let the dog in. I forgot where I was at. Okay, so that's 2 of those for the window ledge. So all these 3 I'm also going to do indoors and get them off to an early start. So they're all, for best results, sow indoors. Rather nicely as well, these seeds don't expire till 2025. So if I don't have a completely disastrous year, these seeds will keep me going for a couple of years. So these particularly are extremely wildlife friendly. They're all the same, sow indoors early on. It's halfway through, more than halfway through January now. So I can definitely do those and those, which are February start. Well, I mean, doesn't really matter. You're talking about a few days really. You can sow them outdoors, so I could possibly do that again at a later date and do another sowing, but I'm definitely going to do these now. And they're all going to be done in the trays in much the same way as I've showed you, so I'm not going to bore you with doing them all again. But what I'll do is I'll show you the Cosmos. I've already done some snapdragons. Let me show you. Now that these have sprouted, I have taken the cover off. I have to be really careful that these don't dry out. So I have found, particularly if the heating is on, that I've had to mist them, you know, quite a number of times a day. I've got some Scabiosa, which you call pincushion plants, flowers. They've also germinated. I have the foxgloves may be germinating. I'll show you those in a minute. I have lots of cornflowers, which I think you call bachelor's buttons. I'm not sure, over in across the pond. So we'll see. I've got a couple of trays of these. So I'm not going to show you the snapdragons now. I am going to do them today, but I will show you how to do the Cosmos in much the same way. I used these little toilet rolls to separate them, but I think it was unnecessary. I'd overthought it. But I think I am going to sow some sweet peas this way indoors. So these were the Foxy Foxgloves, which I thought I'd killed by letting them dry out. That's actually hard but very damp, so it's good. But look, can you see? This was a few days after I almost threw them out. Can you see that? they are starting ever so tentatively to show some green. I hope you can see that. I can't see if you can see that from here, but I can tell you, take it from me, they're all growing over here though. So this does happen to be the window side, so I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. Anyway, they don't need watering again just now, but I am going to put actually a new cover on these because I'm not happy. Once you take the cling film off, that's the only thing. It's difficult to kind of get it snugly back on, so you might just be better putting on some new covering. And of course, when they're really germinated, you need to actually take it off altogether. So that's those. All right, so let's do our cosmos. See how we get on with these. Of course, the earlier you do them, just bear in mind, the longer you're going to have to nanny them until it's warm enough for them to go outside. So just bear that in mind. What did I do with my toothpick? There it is. I'm not going to put quite as much in this time because I have, I think I have to cover these. Let me just check. Water well. Yeah, 1/4 of an inch deep in trays of compost. So we'll just put enough that we can cover them. I don't want that bit in there. Like so. Now, I think if you were doing ranunculus, for instance, you would want the soil not even as wet as this. But this is fine for starting seeds. Okay, let's see if we can get these beauties done. Funny enough, though, I'm not so keen painting white flowers. It depends. Actually, it does depend on the flower. So let's take a look at these seeds and show you what I've got. Oh, they're big. I don't remember. Look at those, like little ochres. Well, that's easy. That makes it very easy then. I can just drop them on where I like. That makes it much easier to control. So I suspect that's probably all I'm going to... No, I'll put a few more in because if they don't germinate, don't want to be taking up the whole space for only one germinated seed. It's incredible, isn't it, when you think these little things here turn into stunning summer flowers, you know? Okay, I am going to do about that many because, as I say, right, that'll do. So the rest I've got enough for a second sowing if I want, or if these don't work. Expiry date 2025, so if they do work and I don't want to sow anymore, I've got some for next year as well, which is just fantastic. I didn't have a label for these, so I shall do that now. Cosmos double white, and that's the 20th, I think, of Jan. I'm not sure if it's the 20th of Jan really. So then these do need a light covering, slightly bigger seeds. So all I do is I get some compost and I just very gently crumble it on top, making sure that it really is, you know, a very delicate amount. And we don't have any big clods. So if I get a big clod between my fingers, I'll just throw that back in the bucket. and then just tap it down to make sure everything is nicely covered. There's something really satisfying about babying these. There we go. Nice. I'm excited. These are exciting. As I say, I had in one of my other videos, I had my first time growing cosmos. I was so successful. And then I think what happened was the second time I grew compost, I was a bit too cocky, and I did not do a good job of it and didn't get any flowering. So I'm now going to go back to being careful like I was the first time, and hopefully having more success. Right, so there we go. So that was 3. So I did the 2 poppies outside. So they've gone outside. The Peony Lilac, Pom-Pom, and the Peony Black. I absolutely, if these come up, my goodness, I don't care if anything else doesn't come up, because they're beautiful. No, I do really. And then I've done the yarrow and the achillea, which is fantastic for the bees and butterflies, and then the hot cosmos. So, and then I am going to do today, but I'm not going to video it, but because it's exactly the same, I'm going to do this other wildflower. And I'm thinking I might send some of these to my dad because he wants to plant wildflowers this year. And I'm going to do these antirrhinums, which are also going to be another, and they're going to be sown in these takeaway trays, the same as I've done here. All right, there you are. There's some plants ready for the summer. I hope you'll join me planting some of these things yourself, sowing them, and have some gorgeous nectar for your wild insects, birds, bees, whatever, butterflies, and some gorgeous cut flowers or just garden flowers in the summer. Thank you for watching. See you again soon. Bye.